What is up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Shaping the Culture. And today we've got a special guest with us, one of my favorite MCs. He's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper from London. We've got none other than Esso with us. How you doing, bro?
What is up? What is up? Shaping the culture, you gotta rep, gotta represent, you know what I'm saying? Ebenezer decided, he was gonna bless me with it. So if you see him, ask him where yours is. Don't ask me. Divert your energy to him. You know what I'm saying?
Come on over this way. We actually sold out, so we're gonna have to wait for the drop.
Yeah, man. But I'm good, man. We're talking offline about, just some adult stuff, trying to align some passport stuff, things of that nature, being a dad, that kind of vibe, you know what I'm saying?
For sure. I love to see it. Well, people might be tuning in online and they might not know that we had you come out to Minneapolis for our second year anniversary at Parenting Church. And you shut it down. You shut that concept down. It's such a good time. You made some non-believers of believers, some believers.
That's good. Yeah, I think with concepts, one of my main things is to, never allow for spectators or, because I think that sometimes we don't know what this type of music is, so we're not really going to engage. But it's a concert, so if you've come out, you spent time to leave your home to come into the auditorium, whatever, we're gonna give you a show. We're gonna give you a good time. You're gonna enjoy yourself. You're gonna hear the gospel. You're gonna hear truth. You're gonna be encouraged, and then hopefully, you build relationship with people that you didn't know, and you now have a common unity. So it was good, man. It was definitely like really refreshing to come and celebrate 2 years with you. But it's not like a small feat. I think about when you guys started the pandemic immediately, and so you've kind of had to like work through that and wrestle through that. So yeah, it's been encouraging, man. Like Perazim, love you guys. Hopefully I'll be back soon. You got to talk to your lead pastor, see what he says. I don't know. Is he in the room? I don't know. Wherever he's at, deal with him.
We'll definitely be bringing you back, bro. Such a good time. And it was special to us to have you celebrate 2 years. Like you said, really made it because of the grace and faithfulness of God. Had to really navigate tough seasons with the pandemic and George Floyd. And there were so many reasons to shut down, in Minneapolis. But by God's doing, we remain. And to have you come and celebrate that was such a good time.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And while you were out here, we just had some fire conversations, bro. I kind of miss hanging out, eating good food and having good conversations. So I was like,
come on.
Let's bring him on the podcast and do a little version.
Yeah, bro. So I think, thankfully, we were able to bring my wife and my kid. And my wife is a really good navigator of conversations and stuff like that. So, when she starts talking, I'm talking, and then I might talk for like 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? Then you get Ebenezer in this spiel mode. And so, we had a lot of good conversations about new projects, state of Christian hip hop, prayer, the effectiveness of prayer, and, faith, and aligning those things together. It was very, very good. It's always, I think for me, when you find someone or a group of people who kind of have a commonality with you, those conversations are easier to have. Actually, it's one of the beautiful things about being in the faith, because Ebenezer and I, we've never met each other before. Like, it's not like something that I've never seen him in life, but it's like I knew him. You know what I'm saying? It's like I've known him for 10 years, the conversations that we were having, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's just something like banging about, like, when Christian faith is in effect and effective, like you see those barriers breaking down where it's like culture doesn't mean anything. You actually want to experience culture. So Ebenezer took us out to get some, Ethiopian food and stuff like that. So like, but you're on the experiencing culture, but you're still like under the umbrella of faith, So you go think about, like, if I wasn't a Christian, or if Ebenezer wasn't a Christian, if you weren't a Christian, I'm not talking like someone else is in the room. If you weren't a Christian, we wouldn't like technically we'd be having a conversation. We wouldn't be having this conversation. We have nothing to talk about. And so our faith unifies us even in our diversity. You know what I'm saying? Even in our cultural diversity, our language diversity, our city diversity, even in, you know, our experiences. You know, you're from East Africa, I'm from West Africa. Those are two different, you know what I'm saying?
Two still completely different.
yeah, exactly. You know, some people, you know, I was gonna say something, but I won't say
it. You already just did us dirty at the concert.
I was not gonna say what I was gonna say. But because of Jesus, right? Because of Jesus and what he's done on the cross, and he unifies our hearts together. You know what I'm saying? He unifies our hearts. When Christianity is done well, this is what you get. You know what I'm saying? This is what you get.
Bro, you just inspired a whole list of questions that weren't planned. We're just gonna go with the flow, let the Spirit do what he does.
Yeah.
One of my favorite passages of scriptures is in 1 John chapter 1, and how John is encouraging the saints to be in community, and that's the way you fellowship with the Father. And I love how in 1 John chapter 1, the first 3 verses, he talks about how he's wanting to invite others to fellowship with him because of his fellowship with the Father. And what stood out to me about that is the basis of his invitation to make friends is not on commonalities. It's not on hobbies. It's on his fellowship with the Father. And oftentimes in Christian culture, the way we build with one another is like, oh, you like hip hop? I like hip hop. You like Ethiopian food? I like Ethiopian food. Let's be friends. But John is uninterested in what your interests are. Because of his faith, he wants to dive deep with his brothers and sisters and let that be kind of the driving forces. I kind of wanted to ask you, because we live in a very divided time right now. And what we see in America, you know, we are just looking for reasons to not be in fellowship with one another, whether it be our political background, our cultural background. Are we wearing masks? Are we not wearing masks? Are we getting vaccinated? We're not getting vaccinated. You know what I'm saying? And we're just picking at, you know, I get it if it happens in the world, but it's seeping into the church. And so what's kind of your thoughts on that? You know, as believers, how should we respond to that? What does it look like to be unified?
I would say that, first of all, it's easier to not have unity than to have unity. It's easier. That's an easier thing to do.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't agree with you? Cool. Keep it pushing, keep it moving. That's so easy.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I don't have to deal with your nonsense. You don't have to deal with my nonsense. We don't have to hash out hard conversations. You sit in your corner, I sit in my corner. We're looking at each other, we're beefing. Like, that's an easy thing to do. The hard thing to do, the biblical thing to do, is this. Like, yo, they will know that you are my disciples by what? Like, by the love that you have for one another. Not by, you know, by your political alignment, not by your alignment on music. Is it CCM? We're doing hip hop. Are we allowing this in the church? Are we not allowing this in the church? Not by how you dress or how you don't dress, right? It's by the love that you have for one another. And what does that look like? It doesn't look like we are going to agree with absolutely everything. But what it does look like is, even in our disagreement, we still love one another, right? Even in our disagreement, yo, I don't agree, you know, not me personally, but I don't agree that you have to wear a mask. Okay, cool. But because you're my brother or you're my sister, I'm still gonna love you. I mean, I'm still gonna love you. I'm still gonna like respect your opinion, because what we're saying then is that, yo, you're not allowed to have that opinion. You're not allowed to have that thought. And really, that's a worldly thing. Like the idea of no. Only one person is right. Only one person has the monopoly on truth. And so we can't, you know, break bread with that person. I had a conversation with somebody one time. And I think sometimes people just don't think about it like that, right? They don't think that they're not loving one another and they're not living out the command of Jesus. People are not thinking that if I don't love my brother or sister, I'm actually showing the world that I don't know Jesus. No one's thinking like that.
Wow.
No one's thinking that way. So in our lack of unity, that is what's happening. People know who are the people. The people are those who are non-Christians, those who are not followers of the way, that you are my disciples, right? Currently then at that point in John, and now in the 21st century, by the love that we have for one another, right? So if we're not showing love to one another, then how are they going to know? How they gonna know?
Yeah.
Like, because we can preach an amazing gospel, but if we turn around and then hate our brother or sister,
yeah,
they're gonna look at you and go, nah, you don't believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You don't believe it. You don't believe what you're preaching.
Yeah.
And so, but I will say this though, that's difficult on both sides of the forum and conversation. It's difficult if somebody is like super adamant about, I don't know, mask wearing or vaccines, and you're killing people. You are adding to the millions of like, what are you saying about me? You know? Yeah. Or like, what do you mean? Don't you know that they're using child embryos? Like, what are you saying about me? You know what I'm saying? So I think once you kind of like, first of all, remove those things and you say, what are we saying really? Like, what are we really saying? Because you and I mean the same. You and I want the same thing, the same outcome we want. We're not talking about guys who are just on the internet, just like making videos and monetizing them just so that they can, do whatever it is. We're talking about guys who genuinely want to have relationship with people, right? Yeah. But still there's a level of disagreement. But then also, when we see in the Bible, we see like a Paul and a Barnabas say like, hey man, we don't really agree. Let's just keep it pushing. But at the end of the day, it was still, hey, bring Barnabas.
Exactly.
Bring him. Yeah. That's still the homie. Yeah, we don't agree, but still bring him. Yeah. Can we do that? Can we do that? That's when they know that we love one another. Yeah. Even when we disagree and we say, no, bring him. Let's go have some Ethiopian food.
So you know meat. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So like, that's what it is. Like, can we disagree? Yeah. And still love on one another? That's so when we start to go, I believe it, but I don't, Yeah. And that's when we need a Holy Spirit for that, for sure.
Oh yeah. In 2021, it's so easy to evangelize through lights and smoke and fog, and let's bring out SO to a concert and that's what's going to bring people to Jesus, or let's, bring Maverick City and that's what's going to bring Jesus, or bring people to Christ, or let's put on this huge event and let's do this and this and that and that. But Jesus never did that. Jesus walked with people and Jesus engaged in tough conversation, and Jesus loved even the most difficult of people to love. Yeah. And through that method, you see an explosion in the Christian faith or what have you. Yeah. I wanted to ask you, just as an artist, as you see everything that's going on in our culture, there's a lot going on in Christian culture, which we have to touch on here in this podcast. And there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in CHH. As you as an artist, do you ever feel responsible for using your platform or your art to kind of address what's happening in our society? And, as a Christian, we have this antidote, we have the gospel or what have you, but talk to me about the way what inspires you to write music, what inspires you to make music, who are you trying to reach? How are you wanting to use your art to leverage the gospel?
Yeah, that's a good good question. I think for me, it's really like a lot of my music come from either my experiences, like, so what's going on in my life, or what other people are experiencing that I know personally, right? So sometimes I might chime in and talk about like some cultural issues. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, of course, if you want to but I also don't want to, there's a fine line between talking about cultural issues when it's popular, because everyone's doing it. So, you're just adding your own 2 cents in and then monetizing that. Yeah. There's a fine line, but like for me, it's like, I'm still trying to find out what that is. Yeah. Now, of course, you want to, throw your hat in the ring, give your 2 cents, but you also don't want to feel like you're swindling and monetizing a situation that has nothing. Like, you should just let the people who have been talking about it for years, who are more experienced and know more about what's going on, speak on it in their music, in their art, in their poetry, in their plays, so on and so forth. Yeah. Which isn't to say that if you're asked, don't speak about it. Right. Or if you feel prompted to, like, don't speak about it. Of course you should. But it doesn't mean that should then become, like, it'd be really dumb if I all of a sudden, like, all my songs are about police brutality. Yeah. It just really be like, okay, why is he doing that now? Like, which is fair. Someone should ask him, like, why is he doing that now? Yeah. Why is, it's because it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's the cool thing to do. Oh, I get it. But when it wasn't cool, you weren't saying it was still there.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's not to say that anybody's doing that. I'm just saying that I'm just, because a lot of people can misinterpret what's being said. Right. But I'm just saying, for me, that's how I try to navigate how to talk about like current cultural events, right. And not talking about current cultural events, right? And so I would do that. Again, like what's happening in my life, what's happening in my immediate situation that I'm seeing. Yeah. Right. So if people are having crisis of faith, or people are having issues of, the identity of Jesus and how that's affecting them, hey, there's a white Jesus for that. Yeah. If people are having, suicidal, depressing thoughts, and, you're kind of sharing in that too, and other people are experiencing that and sharing that with you, you get a lows and highs or whatever it is, right? Yeah. If people are now kind of getting older, and like trying to figure out business and money, kingdom, legacy, all of that in one, you're right about that. Right. You know what I'm saying? And so that's how I approach my music. I'm not saying it's the only way to approach your music, because there are a lot of people who are activists and political, more political in their music. And amen to that. We need that. Yeah. We need those. A lot of the Black songs that we love have come from those. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? People just kind of frustrated, and they need to use their voice to share and to speak to that frustration. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So like I have no issue with doing that. I'm just trying to figure out how to do that but not feel like I'm pandering. You know what I'm saying? Not feel like I'm monetizing the situation of a man or a woman's death. It's tough. It's for me, this is me, Oluwaseun speaking. It's not for anybody else. It's just tough. It's tough to like, where's the line? You know?
I feel that. Well, you just put out a project recently that was influenced by Afro beats.
Yes.
What was going on in your life? What inspired that project? How did that project come to pass?
Yeah. Good question. So the new project is called Larry Guinea. I don't even call it album. The new project is called Larry Guinea Crescent. Larry Guinea Crescent is the road that I grew up on when I was a child, right? So when I was born in Nigeria, I was born there, lived there for 9 years. Yeah. I lived on this road called Larry Guinea Crescent. My house is still there right now. We can go there. Wow. We can go to the bed, not the bed, probably not, definitely hope not the bed. We can go to the room that I slept in, so on and so forth. Yeah. And so it's kind of like, I'm older now. I'm trying to be more in touch with my African roots. Because even though I was born there and I lived there, like there's still like a level of like disconnect, especially after my dad passed away. Stopped going there as frequently as I used to. Then I had a child, and child is born in America. All intents and purposes, she has American friends. Her name is not Nigerian name. But I wanted her to like know where she came from, know her father's culture and her mom's culture too, and be able to like align that with her path and where she's going. And so, Larry Guinea Crescent is just kind of like my way to say, hey man, look, Shadow Rose, this is where daddy lived. Yeah. This kind of music that he was listening to at some point. So let's go. Let's start this adventure together. And then ultimately as well, like my grandmother passed away last year, December, from COVID. And so I was trying to like create music that also felt close to where she was from too. So it's like a whole plethora of reasons. No, I'm not Afrobeat artist now. Everyone's like, oh, is he now? No, I'm not. I just did it because I wanted to. Yeah. I wanted to, and I could. Yeah. So I did.
You can do it well. You can do it just.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like why not? And because I think for a long time I just felt like I had somebody was saying something like today or yesterday, and they were saying like, now artists kind of feel free to be themselves. And it wasn't that I didn't feel free to be myself. It's just that you just don't know how people are gonna take it.
Right.
You don't know how people are gonna like accept it. And the time when I wanted to do it, like 2-3 years, well, maybe more than that, actually, like 4 years ago. Yeah. I wasn't ready. I don't think I wasn't ready like for that because I didn't understand the music well enough. to create it and do it justice the way I've done it now. And then B, I just don't think the world was ready either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Black Panther was like really the straw that broke the camel's back when it comes to like African culture permeating into Western culture. Like that was the straw that broke the camel. Not that there was any things before that, but that one was like, oh, we can accept this. It's kind of nonsense. And so obviously music, I think introducing people to culture, you know, I'm around a lot of like African Americans who don't know where they've come. They don't know, like, you know, if you ask them where you're from, they might tell you like Boston, you know. But if you ask us where we're from, we tell you, you know, take it back home, you know what I'm saying? And so one of the other reasons why I wrote it was to like just give them an introduction of like African music. You know what I'm saying? Like for me personally, to them, my peers, my folks. Not that I'm Fela Kuti or anything, but me to them. Because I think one of the ways you introduce people to culture is through food and music. That's it, food and music. And so when people come to our house and they're like, hey man, what Nigerian food? We cook what's Nigerian? Like, we cooking food. We don't immediately start with language. We start with food. And then through the food, we could talk about language and culture and so on and so forth. Like, you know, we did that just when we were at somewhere else we just came from. And they were asking us about British language, like, yo, what do you guys say differently than we say? But guess what we did it over? Food. Food. We were having food, and through that, oh, you say this, we say that, and then all of a sudden you're talking about culture and you're learning and you're dialoguing. And so that's kind of like the long answer as to why I made it. And of course, you make music, you want to glorify God. Of course, that goes without saying. You know, I don't want to say that because, you know, like, boy, you just making stuff.
Be a Christian artist still? Like,
What are you? You know, so.
Well, I love how you brought in, you know, I definitely feel like Black Panther was I don't know, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And even for me growing up, I was always ashamed of being Ethiopian. Growing up, I wanted to be African American because I just didn't feel like there was a space for me to be African, or there wasn't a space for people to understand, you know, African. You know, you get called scratch. You know, you got your names, things like that. And Black Panther, there's just something about it that helped us take pride in who we were and where we came from. But I also want to ask on, you know, in the context of Christian culture, for the longest, you know, I felt like I had to reject my heritage to be a Christian. A lot of the times, like with gospel presentations, there's this, you know, they're kind of asking you to assimilate or to give up your culture to buy into Christianity. And on one end, I understand that there are going to be parts of my culture that I've got to reject because it's not consistent with the gospel. But God hasn't called me to reject all of my culture. No. That He's made ethnicity. He's made me, and He made it beautiful. Have you ever felt like in our Christian space, because I know even some of the conversations we've had running in the Reformed circles, have you ever felt like you couldn't be authentically you to be accepted in the Christian world with your music? I wouldn't even say only like Reform circles, because I remember very vividly, like in my mother's church, you know, shout out to my mom, I love you. You know, African, we know how that is. There's certain clothing that you can't wear, like, you know what I'm saying, like that are similar to, you know, like you can't wear a hat in church. Like, what do you mean? Take off your hat. I'm like, yo, they wore the thing on their head. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, so like, the assimilation is from everywhere. You know what I mean? Not just like a Reformed theological background. So the assimilation is from everywhere, where diversity is, because again, it's not like people are not saying you must assimilate. No one's, you know, you hear that, you run away, you know, like we should run away anyway. But what people are saying is, okay, remove your hat, or you should be wearing a suit on a Sunday, or talk like this, or start using this kind of language, so on and so forth. So before you know it, everyone's looking like everybody else. But the beautiful thing I love about Christianity, one of the things we talk about all the time, my wife, me, some of the youth from my church, is like, Christianity doesn't have like a wardrobe.
Intentionally. Doesn't have a wardrobe.
Yeah.
So Jimmy, who wears a suit, can be a Christian.
Yeah.
Samantha, who wears a skirt and a nice blouse, she's a Christian. They walk down the street. You don't know that they don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know that they're Christians. You have no idea.
Yeah.
But then they start to talk to one another. Start to have dialogue, start to have relationship and fellowship with one another. Then you start to realize, hold on, wait, these guys are followers of the way. Why am I saying this? I'm saying that there is no way in scripture that teaches that you must look a certain way, that you must dress a certain way, that you must act a certain way, outside of what the Bible commands us with the fruit of the Spirit, so on and so forth, to be a follower of the way. So, like, I love Christianity for that God allows for our diversity, but unifies it and anchors it in Jesus. He anchors it in Jesus. Doesn't anchor it in how we look. Like, even that idea and concept of like Christian culture, like, just kill that. Let's even like remove that, because what is that?
Right.
Christianity looks different, and it ought to look different everywhere in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm meant to go to the depth of the village in Nigeria. They're not meant to be singing Hillsong.
Yeah.
They're not meant to be singing Maverick City.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
Or if they are, do it in your own way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, do it in your own way.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like you need to assimilate to a Western view. And I think a lot of it also is just because it's the West, we think everything revolves around us.
Yeah. Right?
We just think that we're the best. It's the West. It's the best. So of course they're meant to look like us. But how impractical is it for a man in 101 degree weather to be wearing a suit preaching? It's just impractical. It's just not practical. Like, he might faint and die.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we just let guys be themselves, worshiping Jesus, loving Christ. And so we won't have this situation where some people, myself or like yourself, feel like, hey, I can't be the fullness of me in certain spaces because I might be shunned or I might be looked down upon, and so on and so forth. And so I just think that if anybody does that, there's a level of pride that needs to die. If that is your viewpoint, where you feel like you have to assimilate to the way that we do things, if not, you are not in the kingdom. Because another thing too, like, it's like, you may do things your way in your church, but it doesn't mean that that's how it's done in the kingdom.
Right. Or it's the way.
It's not the way. It's not the way it's done in the kingdom. And when we get to heaven and we see this diverse cast of people, and we start to realize that, hold on, wait, everyone's different. And not only is everyone different, everyone's still unified. That's the beautiful thing about Christianity. Like, our differences actually make us who we are, so that when we come together, it looks weird. And then the world is like, I want that. There's no reason for them to be unified. There's no reason for them to love one another. The only reason why we love one another, our anchor point, is Jesus. So that's kind of what I would say to that.
For sure. Dropping gems, bro. So good.
I'm like, man.
Well, let me ask you this. This is a conversation we definitely had off air. But it'd be fun to have it on here too. I know when you first entered into the spotlight with your music, it was very heavy on gospel messages, right? It was very heavy on preaching Christ. And I still think your music is Jesus-centered, Christ-centered around you, but it's not as Jesus in your face as it once was. Was that intentional? Did you feel like you had to do that when you first got in because of where the culture was at? What does that mean for you right now as an artist? Where are you headed? What direction are you going into? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't feel like I ever felt that I needed to. I was doing the Bachelor's of Arts in Theology. That's literally what I was doing for 3 years. So I was wake up, I'll go to the library, I'll write essays, I'll read books. I wake up, I go to the library, I write essays, I read books. I debate people. I wake up, I go to the library, I write essays. And so like what I was rapping about, like say for example, like my first like 5 solas mix, that's literally what I was doing. Like I was literally reading that. That's what I was reading. That's all we were doing at that time. And so yeah, sure, like culturally that in Christian hip hop within that subgenre, like that was what was the norm at that time. And so, but if you kind of look back at like so it begins and so it continues, you start to realize that hold on, wait, it's not just Jesus in your faith, it's in your face, sorry, it's Jesus, but also practical application. Right. So how do I apply this theology that I now know into my daily life? How do I apply it with relationships, for example, right? So when I was making all those relationship songs, it was me trying to apply waiting on the Lord in real time. When you don't want to wait, what do you do? Like, like Passion and Purity, those type of songs came out of that, right? And so it was practical application with the theology that you knew. So, and also at that time, now we the conversation we were having, I remember talking about how like, now there isn't necessarily a need for, I'll tell you that. No, there isn't a need for that. It's less of that because of the churches being planted, the podcasts that are available, stuff like what you're doing, things of that nature, where a lot of people were creating those. I think people were making those type of like sermonic songs because there was a lack of that. Right. So there was a lack of quote unquote sound teaching. And so people were, making songs to kind of combat what they felt was false teaching, right? Or teaching that wasn't as sound as that they thought it was. But now that there is, a lot of solid churches in communities, podcasts, so on and so forth, people are making less of that. People are getting older as well, right? But I will say that there are people doing that too. There are people still doing Jesus in your face. Right. They're still, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? Yes, there are people still doing that. People still making that kind of music. But people, I think, are either just lazy, so they just don't want to look for that. Or still expecting their favorite Christian rapper to make the same songs that he or she made 10 years ago, which isn't fair, man. I just don't think that's fair. Like, I'm not sure you can judge someone's faith by 3 minutes of a song. I don't think so, man. I'm like, if you come and see my life, right, come and see who I'm discipling. Come and see how active I am in my church. Come and see, like, then you can judge whether I'm a Christian or not. Right. Don't judge it by a 3-minute song. But don't do that. And even on the flip side, to the other side, don't judge it by a 3-minute song because I'm preaching Jesus. Don't assume that I'm super Christian because I'm preaching super Jesus. Let's not assume that. So on both sides, it's like don't assume nothing. You should ask, call the pastor if you're really interested. Call the pastor of the church. Make an appointment with the secretary. These things are very easy to do. Very easy. But like, hey man, look, I heard so-and-so song. What are they about? Are they still? Oh yeah, Jim. Yeah, man. He still serves. He still worships here. He's still active. To me, that's more important than a 3-minute song. That is of more value than a 3-minute song. You know what I'm saying? So I think now I'm just, again, I'm practical theology. And even like I say that, but as I'm making my new project, like I have this one song where it's mad, like a few songs actually are like super reminiscent of like the old. Where I'm like, like what's coming out of my heart is that. Like I'm not trying to force Jesus in, I'm not trying to take him out by force either. So I have songs about, about being a man and manhood and legacy. And then I have songs about crying out to Jesus, like, like it's already done. I'm already his. It's already won. I mean, that's literally the chorus. That's gospel. And so like, I just think that, artists, look, we're Christians before we're artists.
You
know what I'm saying? We're Christians before we're artists. We're Christians before we're anything else. We are followers of the way. Yeah. So let's just make sure that is sorted.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that is good. Everything else, I'm not really bothered, man. You mentioned Jesus in your song, you don't mention Jesus in your song. Yeah. Don't want to be on Rapzilla. You do want to be on Rapzilla. You don't want to be called a Christian rapper. You do want to be called a Christian rapper. I'm not really bothered. You know what I'm saying? I am bothered about a few things, but you know, there might be a different podcast.
For sure. Well, like you said, I think we need both. We need theology and we need practical theology. I remember, I'll tell on myself, growing up, it was heavy on Jesus, theology. However, I didn't know, what it looked like to be a good friend. I knew I can break down a text for you, but what does it look like to be a faithful friend? What does it look like to take care of my body, eat right, go to the gym? What does it look like to get my money in order, right? To invest, to save, how to steward.
And by the way, those things are also in the Bible.
Yeah.
Those things you just mentioned are also in the Bible.
Yeah.
And so if an artist who happens to be a Christian, if an artist who's a Christian says, hey, man, I want to write a song about money and spending it wisely or leaving a legacy, but just does it in a way where it's like, it's practical, it's ecclesiastical in essence. Like it's kind of Kohelet-like.
Yeah.
Guys will be, oh my gosh, he's talking about my cover. But it's biblical.
Yeah.
Stay healthy. Eat good. That's Bible.
Yeah.
Be a good friend.
Yeah.
That's Bible. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good husband. That's Bible.
Yeah.
It's Bible. And so, like, I just think maybe what it is also is how you come in. That's an issue for people as well, right? So, like, we don't hear these conversations with like a Toby or a whoever it is, right? Because it's how they came in. It's how they came in. And so, how you come in is how people kind of fall in love with you, and people want that. They want that old reminiscent stuff. And so it's kind of up to you to be like, I'm either going to keep giving them that, kind of the stuff that they like, and, you're kind of tired of, or you feel like you could do it in a different way, or this is where I'm at right now. Musically, sonically, this is why I want to communicate sonically. And so, you decide what you want to do, man. Ask the Lord to give you wisdom.
That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Well, let's switch gears a little bit here. I feel like, this is my personal opinion, that you're kind of, catching your second wave. And I feel like you're like, it's almost.
I'm definitely catching my second wave. Sure.
Yeah. And one of the things we talked about when you were here in Minnesota is just about the kind of year that you had last year and your wrestling with the Lord. And so maybe encourage somebody that's right now maybe wanting to start a podcast, wanting to be an artist, trying to get this law degree, trying to whatever it is that they're pursuing, trying to get married, but they just feel like they keep falling flat on their face. And they're like, man, God, I know you called me to this. I know you've asked me to do this, but I just don't see this working out, or I don't see this yielding the results I had hoped for. Share a little bit about your journey, your testimony, how you would encourage someone who's in that season.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm a rapper. And primarily one of the ways rappers make money is on the road, right? Doing shows, selling merch, so on and so forth. Especially with the pandemonium, the pandemonium that was the pandemic shut down everything. No shows, nothing. So that's a big chunk of your income just into thin air, just poof, gone. I feel like last year in March, I think that's when the pandemic started. I feel like it's been a long time. Did it start last year? It might have started last year.
2020.
Last year in March, I had I had a tour booked. I had a whole bunch of shows. Like within a week, they were like 50 grand just gone. Yeah, within a week, just disappeared. And I had already been thinking about this thing I'm going to talk about in a second, but it also just let me know, like, hey man, don't put your eggs in one basket. Like, diversify your portfolio a little bit. Like, don't just focus on one thing. Be diverse. Understand that, again, something that Christians should be teaching one another, like, things that are in the Bible, that we should be educating one another on. But we We don't want to do that for some reason, whatever. Yeah. It's not like Jesus didn't even talk about money. It's weird. It's a weird conversation.
Isn't that like the most, I think that's the number one thing he talked about, if I'm not mistaken.
It's weird, man. It's not, anyway. So fast forward, I'm kind of looking at my wife, looking at my kid like, man, what's going to happen? I'm going to do it. It was, thankfully we had savings, this, that, and third. But I knew like, I needed to, make this thing run. And so I prayed, one thing. I prayed on this floor that's right here in this room. I prayed. I didn't even think my wife knew until like after the fact when things start to happen. I prayed and I cried out to God. I cried out to him. I was like, hey, man, you did not bring me here to suffer, bro. I said, like, in short, like, you did not bring me here to suffer. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? So I just asked, like, hey, man, Lord, please, like, show your way, let your will be done. And like, I trust you in this situation. I trust that you're going to do something. What I was praying for specifically, because I've also learned that you got to be specific with your prayers, man. You got to be very specific with your prayers. Be specific what you want, bro. Be specific. Don't be super broad. Be specific. Solomon was very specific. Give me wisdom. Very specific. And then just say, I would love to be, no, very specific. I was like, Lord, I want to kill this sync licensing with my music and, with other things, sync licensing. I want to really do well in that space. So I prayed. I remember reading a book, said pray as though everything depends on prayer and work as though everything depends on work.
So good.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I prayed as though everything depended on prayer, but I got up from the floor and I worked as though everything depended on work. Started creating a lot of songs, a lot of music. Start hitting companies up that, kind of, you can Google what sync licensing is. Start, hitting them up and doors to start opening, at the end of the year too. Like, so it wasn't like at that time immediately, boom, December, things started hitting up to the point where, NBA, TNT, a whole bunch of things. I don't want to list names and stuff, but I would encourage the person who's kind of looking at this like, hey, man, I want to do something, but it's not fall out. Pray. That's the first thing you need to do, man. Pray. Yeah. Pray. Cry out to God, man. Like everything depends on it, because I really believe that God hears my prayers. Even when I don't think he does. Even when I don't think he listens, he hears my prayers. And how do I know he hears my prayers? Because he's been answering them. So when I'm discouraged that my prayers are not answered, guess what I need to do? I need to remind myself of the times that he's answered my prayers. Which would then encourage me to know that, okay, he's going to answer me. When it's time. When it's time, I'm not going to be discouraged and be like, he ain't, all right, Lord, it's been about 2 months. What's going on? But when it's time, he'll answer them. And so I would encourage that person and pray. Pray as though everything depends on prayer. And then work as though everything depends on work. Work. And that might mean bringing people on board. Like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I also don't know how I don't feel about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm kind of in this like destiny, people who like help you to fulfill your destiny in life. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not sure. But I will say that the people I've met have helped me. That God has strategically brought into my life to allow me to further what I'm doing in music. Like, if I didn't meet certain people, I wouldn't be having some of the opportunities that I'm having now. And it wasn't that I was rushing to go and find these people. Right. God brought them into my life. And I had to have the foresight to know that, hey, it's God. He's the one doing this. So anything that's happening now is like all by the power and the grace of God. So I would encourage that person, man, pray. Pray as everything depends on prayer. And then, but you have to be sure also that this is what he's called you to do. Right. You have to know that, man, sure enough, not fully sure, but sure enough. This is what, because sometimes we put so much emphasis on certainty that, there are seasons where we're uncertain. We still have to do.
So good.
We still have to move. It's like life is not stopping because you're uncertain. Life isn't stopping, bro. You still got to go pay these bills. So what you gonna do? So you have to be sure enough. And I was sure enough. I was sure enough. So I left everything that I had in the UK to come to America. Wow. My wife was sure enough.
Yeah.
That's why she left everything that she had to move to America with me.
Yeah.
Like, sure enough to know, like, boom, we're going to do that. I'm sure enough now that the foundations that I'm laying now, the seeds that I'm laying now, God is going to do what he's going to do with it. You know what I'm saying? So, and then not only is he going to do what he's going to do with it, because he gives us more, not for us to hoard within ourselves.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Not for us to just be like, yo, look at how much I got. Look at all the sinks that I've got. Like now it's like, yo, like, oh, bro, you wanted this? Come. We can do it together. You wanted this? Come. Let's do this. Let's give. Let's help people. Let's help other artists to understand this space, because, you know, artists, we don't have a 401k and a retirement plan and so on and so forth. But we need to start thinking about such things.
Yeah.
You know, we start thinking about such things, my artist friends, and investments and things like that. And sometimes Christian music, Christians don't give you room to think about that. You know, me and my wife were talking about our beloved brother John Piper. We love you, John. Brother Pastor John, we love you. And we remember the Don't Waste Your Life sermon.
Yeah.
We talked about the two sisters who were giving their life away in the countries in Africa, you know, being missionaries, killing it. Amen. Round of applause.
Yeah.
Then there were these Christians who were just retired on a yacht. Playing golf.
Yeah.
But John, Pastor, there's nothing wrong with playing golf.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with having a savings account.
Yeah.
And making sure that your children are good and you're good and their children after them are good, so on and so forth. And so we need to stop this. Like, yo, because you're a mission, you're killing it over there. But the guy or gal who's thinking about retirement and thinking about how they can leave a lasting legacy and how they can leave a lasting legacy for the sake of the gospel, right? It's for the sake of the gospel. That's it, really. I want my child to eat, so she ain't got to worry about eating, so that she can fix her eyes and gaze on Jesus. Because guess what? If you're thinking about eating, you're thinking about eating. That's it. That's it. You know, so I'm both and. Yes, I wanna give my life for the sake of the gospel, for sure. But one of the ways I do that is also like, how can I be wise with my time and my money and my resources? How can I do that? So artists need to start thinking about that. And the reason why I bring up Pastor John is because, like, sometimes it's this, that. You got to be one or the other. I'm not saying go and just waste your life and just be playing golf 24/7, but I'm saying be wise about thinking about your retirement and what you're going to be doing when this stops or slows down, when a pandemic happens that you didn't know about, you know, and things like that. And so, you know, get around. Like I had a conversation with someone and they was asking me, so what you been on about? I said, bro, I'm in my Bible. But I'm in my bag.
That's a word.
I am in my Bible.
Yeah.
But I'm in my bag also.
I'm
trying to make sure. I'm trying to make sure that is a bar already, though. You know what I'm saying? It's already in the song. I'm trying to make sure that my wife is good. I'm trying to make sure if something happens to me today, you know, I'm trying to make sure she's good. I'm trying to make sure my kid is good. I'm trying to make sure that my sisters, my cousins, my mom, like everyone, they're good. But I'm trying to add to their goodness. You know, like as a man, as a Nigerian man, there's certain things I want to achieve for the sake of, you know, my mom. Not so like someone could pat me on the back, but it's like Jesus can be like, yo, man, look, I gave you these resources. This is what you did. And now your mother is free to do other things for the sake of the kingdom. My brother, like, what are we doing, man? We live in the West and we want to argue about masks and vaccines. We have resources. What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are we doing? We're not making use of the time because the days are evil. Ephesians, you know what I'm saying? Make most use of the time because the days are evil. No one has to tell you that you live in evil days. We know that. But the question is, are we making most use of that time? Well, no. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say.
Listen, bro, you said so many things that I wish I had time to unpack. But I really feel you on that whole don't waste your life. You know, I remember being impacted by that message in that book as well. And, you know, I had to learn context matters. You got to contextualize some messages, you know, and I had to, there was a reckoning that I faced at some point where I'm like, yo, I am not the audience that he was speaking to. I am a second generation Ethiopian man who for the most part, I know I'll probably be my parents' retirement plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, if me and my brothers and sister don't make it, my parents don't eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro.
And so, yeah, I had to wrestle with that too. I wish we had time to really.
Yeah. I know.
But there's so
much.
I
know. It's so sorry. Bro.
No, you're good. You're good.
Be giving nuggets and just going.
This is what we were doing in Minneapolis the whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's true.
But I wanted to talk to you about the just like the people that the Lord brought in your life.
Yeah.
Helped you and positioned you. And the reason why I want to hone in on this is I actually tweeted just today, you know, purpose over clout. And in our generation right now, you know, we are just itching to be known, itching to be in certain circles, itching to be for whatever reason, like in relationship with or networking with so and so. And, you know, a lot of the times too, people think that, oh, if I just get this person to co-sign, if I just get this person, not knowing. And I used to be one of those guys, but you know, you start doing a podcast episode with someone, or you have a song with someone, and you think like that's going to blow you up, and it doesn't all the time. You know what I'm saying? You've got to,
or it blows you up in the wrong reason.
For the wrong reason. And then that was it. That was your biggest record, or that was your biggest episode, or what have you. And so can you speak to that a little bit? Because I do feel like, you know, in our generation, we do struggle to keep our head down, you know, boots on the ground, and just work hard, you know, pray hard and work hard. And, you know, God does bring people in our life to amplify what he's doing in our life. But sometimes I feel like we look to people like they're gods. Like people can change our career. People can make us, when they can't. Only God can. You know, God opens, man doesn't. And so can you speak to a little that tension between acknowledging that God uses people to help us, but people can't save us or make us?
Or make you whatever it is that you want to. I think sometimes what we do is because I think the difficulty is realizing and noticing that, it's God doing this, not this person. Right? Because what you see in front of you is this person. Right. So you're assuming that, if I align myself, like I too was part of the. Actually, let me not say that. Let me not say what I was going to say. I was going to say something. I'm not going to say anything. I have to think. The culture. So think through what I was going to say. But I've fallen into that. If I do a feature with this person, then all of a sudden my career is going to change. To a certain extent, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But then, nah, man, just trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Don't be thirsty. Don't be thirsty for like that person's acknowledgement. Don't be thirsty for, obviously you want your work to be recognized. Nobody's doing work and they don't want it to be recognized. Everybody wants their work to be recognized. You want your podcast to be watched. I want my music to be listened to. I make it not just for me, but I want people to hear it. But ultimately at the same time, I just have to know that, God is the one who's going to water it. God's the one who's going to make it grow. If he sees fit. And maybe making it grow might not mean being the biggest Christian rapper in the world. Right. It might not mean that, but are you okay with that? Right? Are you okay with that? What are your goals? I would even like, if I was having a conversation with someone today, I'd be like, every time I do that all the time, I was like, what are your goals? What are you trying to accomplish? That's where I start. What are you trying to accomplish? Then we hit me with that, then we work backwards. Have someone tell me, I want to do this, and this. Okay, cool. How can we get there? You know what I'm saying? It's not you. I want to do a song with you. I say, bro, just keep your money. Don't. No, legit. Because it's like, it doesn't make sense for you to do a song with me because you think it's going to help you. It might not. I'd rather just have a conversation with you. Try to figure out what you want to do. And I could be like, okay, cool. Do this. Or don't do this, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I think we just have to kind of realize, and hold our goals and our aspirations with an open arm, with an open hand, and be like, God, whatever you want to do with it, if you're going to bring these people into my life, amen. I'm not going to look at them and be like, yo, they're gods. Like essentially what they're doing is they're recognizing what you put in me. You're the one who put it in me. They're recognizing that. Oh yeah. Let's help him. And because you're aligning yourself with Bible believing Christians, they're reminding you also, get your eyes off me, keep your eyes on Jesus. Right? They're reminding you all the time, like, yo, man, look, even if you fall asleep, like, oh man, thank you so much for doing it. Because of you, they should go, no, bro. And not in like this false humility kind of vibe, but like in a real sense of like, nah, trust me, thank the Lord for bringing us together.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Thank the Lord for aligning our paths and putting us where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? Because in as much as, this is one things I've learned, as much as we think that we need them, guess what? They also need us. If it's a genuine relationship. Right. If it's a genuine relationship, the two will go well together. You know what I'm saying? And God will show fruit with that. So I want to, give a big shout out to, the people at Good City Music, shout out to Risha as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like for opening and allowing certain things to happen and conversations and things like that in nature, and teaching me, like, to a certain extent, like Kanata's taught me how to sync music. Like I can always write, but there's an art form. And he showed me the road. Like he showed me how to do it. Like one time, don't get too gas, bro. He showed me one time, and then like boom, now I got it. Able to land a few of these. Like so, like of course I'm always grateful to that. Like I'm grateful to people like Joshua Wan, who when I was a kid, like I was young, he signed me to Lamp Mode, and even when I didn't have any, like I needed a visa to stay in America, he petitioned for me to be in America. That's God bringing people into your life that I didn't know when I was a kid taking a picture with Josh that years later he's going to be the person that petitions for me to live in America. I didn't know that. I didn't know that when I was doing a 6-hour drive from Philadelphia to Boston to go and meet Michael McPherson. And I hated that drive. And I hated the show. Who knew that years later, he would be another person that petitions for me to stay in America? Who knew that? Who knew that? Who knew that? You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't know, these people that God is bringing into your life, you just don't know where they're going to be at. You don't know, especially if like they're not people, like these aren't people that trying to use you these are just good Christians. Living out what we've been talking about in this conversation. And so, I never want to look at these people. Of course, you want to be grateful to them, but you also want to know, like, yo, God brought them. It's God brought them. God is the one who's doing that. And so, you know what I'm saying?
I love that, man. So many gems there. Listen, we could do this for another hour, but we won't do that to you.
We won't do that.
So I just kind of last question here. What's next for SO? What could people expect from you? How can we be anticipating you?
Man. So I'm currently working on a new project. Actually, I probably have like a few songs coming out before the end of the year. At the start of next year, I'm just, releasing music. I have a new project coming out. I don't have a title for it yet. We're almost finishing it. So I'm just working on that. You know what I'm saying? Like all the songs are kind of done-ish, ideas in my head, so on and so forth. So you're gonna get more music, man. Hopefully once things start opening up a bit more concerts, and things of that nature. So yeah, man, just expect what you're singing now times 100. Times 100.
You heard it here, y'all.
Yeah.
You heard it first.
The output is gonna be crazy.
Yeah. No,
I have songs already for like next year, so I'm not even worried about that.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited, bro. I can't wait for more music from you. I think you're one of the best.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Do it. You know what I'm saying? So thank you so much for gracing Shaping the Culture podcast. Again, people don't know you were on here once before.
I was, man.
It was last year.
Go listen to that. That
was a fire conversation too. Yeah. But man, yeah, thank you so much. It's always dope just building with you and growing. And I learn a lot from you, and I get inspired by listening to you and your story and what God is doing. And so I hope those that were listening in today felt the same thing. So thank you for lending your time and wisdom, shaping the culture.
Thank the Lord, man. All right, man. God bless you guys, man.
God bless you. Until next time, family, peace and grace.